Good evening everybody and welcome back to a brand new video. Today we are going to be using Pinterest to design an entire house in The Sims. I am going to try and aim for a slightly smaller house, but I'm thinking we maybe go all the basic rooms you would normally have, maybe a little open plan, we'll see what Pinterest gives us, and then I'm also going to do 2 bedrooms. Now the idea for this is that we're just going to go in and I'm going to just search for like kitchen, and then the first result we get for kitchen is the one that we're going to use for the design. This might end up really strange because we might end up with a lot of rooms that are all different styles, but let's see how it goes. We're going to do it for the outside as well. I'm going to do things like garden and we're going to see what we get. Okay, so we're going to start off by searching for the outside of our house and just the general vibe of what it looks like. So I guess I'm just going to type in like small house. So if we do like small house and then just see what comes up, hopefully it will just show us like the outside rather than the inside. So we've got loads of things, and as I said, I'm going to go with the first thing that shows up for each of them, which is this one here. And this one actually shows us a floor plan as well, but I'm going to ignore that part. We're just going with the outside because obviously we're going to do the inside kind of based on the sizes of each room for what shows up. So this is fine. We can go with this one for our outside design. It's pretty cute. It does look pretty small, so I'm going to save that one. We're then going to go in and I guess do a garden. So I'm going to type in front garden, and then we'll also do a back garden as well. So the first one that pops up is this cute little brick garden. This is actually really cute. It's got a little gate at the front as well, so we'll be able to include that as well. Then obviously we're going to do back garden. So let's see what pops up for this one. So this one is a much more modern back garden, but it does have a cute little seating area for you to be able to have like a party or hang out with friends. We've also got some lounges, and there's even a dining table right at the far end as well. So now that we've saved that, we can start going in and doing the inside of the property. So I'm going to start, I think, with, I guess, the front entrance. Don't really know what you'd call that. Maybe it's not the front entrance because that's coming up with sort of the actual front of the house. Let's try entry hallway. Entry hallway. So this one's better. So this is our entrance hallway. It's literally just one wall with some hanging objects and some pictures. That's fine. That's actually better because this is a small house. We're not going to have a massive amount of space. We can then go kitchen. So let's see what it's going to give us. Okay, that's cute. Yeah, okay, I like this one. My main concern with doing this was that it was actually going to come up with a lot of AI images. Now, some of these might end up being AI. We are obviously randomly generating this, and it's just the first thing that comes up. Sadly, Pinterest is absolutely full of AI images, and so are a lot of house designs. So we might end up with some of those, but obviously we can kind of decorate some of it as well ourselves because we only get one perspective of each room. But there's our kitchen, so let's go on to the lounge next. So we're going to do lounge. I might have to change it to living area. We'll see what actually comes up. Actually, no, this is fine. Okay, so we're going to use this one for this. This is actually really cute. It's literally just a soft plush sofa with some bookcases, a little fireplace, another fireplace down there, and then obviously we've got a little coffee table and things there, so that's fine. I'm then going to look at our bathroom next, see what we get for our bathroom. Hopefully it's something not too big. I'm really worried. Okay, no, this is cute. Okay, I like this one. This is just like a modern green and white tiled bathroom, kind of. It says it's boho. I don't think it's particularly boho. I think it's quite modern, but should be fine. So we'll save that one as well. Now we can go into our bedrooms. So obviously, I guess I'll get one of them would probably be an adult bedroom and the other one would be a child's bedroom. So we'll just type in bedroom to start because it's probably not going to bring us a kid's bedroom straight away. So this is the first one, which actually matches with a few of the other rooms that we've been picking. This one I would say is a bit more boho. It's got some good wooden tones in there with lots of plants, so that's nice. So we'll save that one and then we can go in and do the kids' bedroom. So this is the first one that pops up. It is very cute. It's quite simplistic. A couple of little things on shelves, some bunting, and then obviously the little kids' bed there with, I think that's technically supposed to be another chair on the floor, something they can sit on. So we'll save that, and then that is all of the rooms of our house. We can now go in and start making it. Okay, so obviously we're going to start off with the actual build for our house. So we're going to be using this reference that we grabbed first. So obviously this is going to be a bungalow because we only have one floor for this, which should be fine because we can stretch it out a little bit at the back and just make sure that we have enough space. We do have quite quite a small front garden as well. Obviously I did search for this to be a small house, but given the amount of rooms and the fact it's on a bungalow, it's going to have to be looking a little bit bigger than what we first thought. So we'll start by just whacking in, I guess, like that size, and then we can go from there. I could extend it a little bit more actually. This doesn't look too bad. That means we can split off this section here and make that the patio. Although from looking at it, it does actually have seats there, so we might have to just bring it back a little bit more like this. Then let's raise it up so we actually have a patio. Remove this part, and then we've got to sort of take into consideration the back garden. I think we're going to have to add some stairs or something, but we'll do that in a minute. For now, we're just kind of decorating this front part that we can actually see. Obviously, it's quite a simplistic roof. It's just one of these that hangs over the edge a little bit. I am tempted to actually make it slightly taller just because then we have a bit more space. I think that should be fine. It's obviously got a tiny little window right at the top there, and it actually looks quite similar to this one. Add that one in there. We need a trim all the way around the top, so I'm just going to raise that up so it's on a platform and then use that. And then get rid of the platform, and then we see we then have this wooden part here. And then go in and add in our wooden sections like this. I think those will be the right color. I actually think they're slightly off. It might be more like this kind of orangey tone, but I'll add in the other parts first and we'll see. Add in these little sections at the top, and then obviously we need a fence that goes across here. I'm thinking about going with this one because it matches that little window we picked top, although that does bring in quite a lot of darkness because it's got a black section there. So let's see if we've got anything else. It's a little bit more simplistic, but I think something like this looks a bit more like the reference. Then it seems to have just a sort of brick color as this section. It's just a light brick along here, so something like that actually looks really similar to what's on there. Then zooming in a bit, we just have brick as the steps, and it doesn't actually go all the way. I think it's just up to like there, so then we can have plants either side. This section just looks like it's wood, I believe, but like a lighter wood, but I feel like something like this works quite well to make it a bit warmer. But our front door, we have like a sort of white multiple paneled glass door, so that should be quite easy to find. So yeah, something like this works pretty well. Alternatively, we could just go with something a bit more simplistic like this one, which I think that one looks okay, but I actually think it's a bit too bright. Gonna go with this one. I think that looks best. Then obviously we have our colors. So from the looks of it, this section over here, like this wall and this front section, are actually made out of wood, and then this part is where we've got that sort of teal color. So we'll try find the teal color first, I think, because I'm a bit worried we're going to struggle to get that. And these are actually wooden panels all the way across the top and bottom. Problem is we need to find the same color in both of them, and I feel like that's going to be a bit tricky to do. Are these the same? So if we went with that and then this color, are they the same green? Oh, they're actually pretty close. Okay, yeah, we'll do those then, and it's the same all the way across the inside here, and then it changes to wood over on this side. So for this one, it's got angled that way on this side, so we can find something that's a nice one. This is quite a nice color. Can we get this lighter? I'm going to try and get them in the same kind of shape actually, because I think that'll work a bit better. Yeah, something like this works. So that's all the way across there, and then we've got the same one on this side. See, these ones are slightly different shades. We might have to do them in this slightly darker wood instead, because these ones at least match. So it's looking pretty good so far. It's pretty accurate to the original. Let's add in some windows. I'm going to combine these two windows together because that gives us the same color, and that's about the right height as well and size of that window. Then we have the same thing on the other side near the end, and we only have one of these. So I'm going to just add them next to each other for now, and we can fiddle around it later and maybe move them around. Next, obviously, we have some lighting. So there is a light directly above this little window, the window over here, and obviously the main porch. So we've got a little one up here. I think I'm actually going to use these because these are quite cute. They're nice and round. Then we've got the same thing on this side, and then we've got 3 hanging ones in this section. I'm thinking we go with this one because this is kind of the same sort of modern style. Okay, next, so we obviously have some plants now. So there's quite a few plants at this front section. I'll add them in. Obviously this front section right at the front is obviously going to change because we've got a front garden, but I think if we add them in for now, we can then work it out later as we combine the two. Obviously we've got 2 spiky looking plants, which this is the first thing that I thought of when I thought spiky plant. So we'll do 2 of those, one on either side. We have a bushier looking plant right next to this door here, another sort of bushy plant there, and then we've got one more, oh, we've got another 2 right at the front here, I think. And obviously we have another 2 identical plants either side of here. So that's looking okay. I think maybe once we do the front garden, it should look a little bit better. We obviously need our seating as well that's right out the front on the porch here. So for this, obviously it's just 2 little wooden chairs. I think I'm going to go with these because they match with our color scheme a little bit better. We've just got one there and one there. We then obviously have a little table as well over here. The table does appear to have something on it, but I'm not too sure what's actually on it. I'm going to push the table up to there just because it fits a bit better. Then I think it'd be cute to just add in this little tea set. Last part we're going to do is just sort out our roof, and then we can move on to the front and back garden. Going to pick that for our trim, and then for our roof, we can't actually see it, but I think it's like a darker shade. I feel like something like this is quite cute. So now that we've done that part of our house, we can move on to the front and back garden. We might be able to actually do it where we include everything like and just keep it where it is, but we'll see. I'm going to start with the fence. So this is like a very sort of this front porch is kind of giving like London vibes just because of the brickwork. I think this one is quite similar, and I think what we can do is bring it all the way around to here, and then I also want to use this as a walkway to get to our back garden as well. I'll section it off for now just so that we can fiddle around with the back section in a sec. So obviously with this comes a weird little sort of walkway with a very short hedge, which might be a little bit difficult to do, but we'll see. It basically just creates its own path. I think we could definitely bring this in. It doesn't need to be as big as that. I'm going to grab our sidewalk slabs and just fill that in. I'll fiddle around with the rest of it afterwards just to make sure it's a bit more central into the middle of the lot. We can then grab our bricks. So we've got these 2 different ones that work. Let's see how this one looks. I think that one's quite nice. It's very bright though. Let's have a look at this one next. Okay, I think I like this one more just because it looks a little bit more rustic. And obviously that's going to continue on all past the side of the house. Oh, we do actually have this one as well. And this one's better. I like this one more because it's a bit darker. Okay, so I've sectioned it off a little bit more. I think I'm going to put some bins here just because then it feels a little bit more like it's a realistic space. Then obviously re-looking at the front of our garden, I don't think we're going to do all of these front ones, which is fine because I don't think they looked particularly good anyway. We can then just build up all of these little grass banks to be a bit more exciting with plants. So obviously those are trees there. We're going to have to be a bit more selective about the trees because a lot of them are huge. So I think we're going to mix it up between these ones. I think that looks pretty good. Don't really know how I feel about the trees. I think it's just because they've got a lot of leaves on them. It might be better for us to do something like bushes. Just going to have a look and see how that looks, just because there aren't any that are as similar to the ones in the reference as this. Yeah, so the bushes look a little bit better just because they're not as like sort of messy and eye-catching. So I think that looks a little bit better. For our little garden over here, I'm thinking these 2 little hedges because those are quite cute, and then we don't really need to do a lot else to this area. Then I'm thinking we could do the same thing over here. There we go. So I think that actually looks really nice. I realized that we do have obviously a bit of space over here, so maybe we could get something like a bird feeder or anything that kind of looks good in a front garden. We could also pick one big tree. I feel like that might actually kind of work because we do have the space for it. Let's have a look at trees. Yeah, if we go with something like that, I feel like that kind of works. Yeah, so there's our front garden pretty much sorted. We need obviously a gate to get into it. We go with that one kind of matches. Obviously we need a mailbox as well, so I think we can go with, let's have a look, maybe one like this if we can get a lighter stone color, but I don't know if we can actually change that. Yeah, this is the one we can change, so that looks pretty good. I like that as our little mailbox. Might actually be a better idea to just put it in this corner here, but I think that looks pretty nice. I like that so far. So then let's move on to our back garden. So what I am actually going to do real quick is just do the inside here so that we can work out all of the placements for everything and see whether I need to pull the whole thing back a bit more, because I am worried we're not going to have enough space inside the house for all of the different rooms. So I'm going to have a quick overview of everything that we've picked for each room, and then we'll sort of gauge where we want everything. So obviously for our entrance hallway, it was quite simplistic. We literally just had like one side wall that had some bits on it, and we can probably do that as like maybe 2. So we'll do this as our entrance hallway. I might pull it back out again just to make it even, but we'll see. Then that can be our wall that we had in the picture. We could also have another little door here that leads to a different room. I'm thinking this be our living room as it is right at the front of the house. I realized we didn't actually pick a dining room, which is a bit of a problem, but I guess there does appear to be some kind of like bar-ish area. Oh no, there's no bar-ish area. I was looking at a different picture. Okay, so we don't actually have anywhere to eat, but what I can do is just put a breakfast bar type thing into our kitchen, and then, or alternatively, we can just add a dining table and chairs into there in like the same style as what we picked our kitchen. But I'm thinking we have that near our living area over here. That makes more sense for our kitchen, I think. So what we could do is maybe section it off over here. I'm a bit worried we're not gonna have enough space. It makes more sense to have the bedroom sort of near the back of the house, I think. So if we put the door there to the living room, this can then be our kitchen slash sort of dining area over here. And that could be quite big, so we can make it this big. It is like a U shape, so it's gonna have to go around there. It might be a bit better if they did have like a little bit more space. So I'm thinking we could actually stretch it out a little bit more and do it like this size, or we can pull it out a bit further down past the bathroom. So maybe if we did it like this, then for a U shape it actually makes a bit more sense and they have a bit more space. I am feeling like we're going to need to pull this back a bit just because we are massively running out of room. We're going to have to make the hallway, I think, quite a weird shape as well. Okay, so I've pulled it out an additional 2, and this actually looks like it'd be pretty good now in terms of our adult, kids and bathroom. So the way that it's all organized is that this is obviously our entranceway and the section to get into all of the different rooms. This is going to be our kids' room here. This is going to be our adults' room. This is going to be the kitchen and dining area. And then we've got our bathroom over here, and our living is right at the front. The only issue that I can kind of see is that we don't really have an exit out of the building from the back. So what I'm kind of thinking is that we can do something on this side that exits out of the building and you can go around the corner, or we can try and put a door right at the end. But that's the basis for that, which means that we can now go ahead and work out with the remaining space how to get into the back garden and what the back garden actually looks like. So our back garden is actually quite sectioned off. It seems to have really high fencing, obviously for privacy reasons. The closest thing I can find to the shapes of this is actually this thing. It doesn't come in grey, but it does come in this sort of lighter colour, which I think is fine. Obviously we do have platforms and things as well, so I'm going to add those in. I think that's probably about fine for that size, and we have another one over here. Obviously part of the issue with fencing is that it does end up basically like lifting up with the platforms, but I don't think it looks too bad because it is kind of that way on the picture as well. So there is grass, but only in the middle section, so we can pop that there. The rest of it seems to be this sort of tiling, which I think we have actually got something similar to this in the game. It's a little bit like this. Yeah, that actually looks very similar, but I think this one's got a bit of a bluey tone to it. So something like this I think works a little bit better. So we have that up here and down here as well. Yeah, so I've added in our door that leads through to our back garden. Not really sure on the colour. I think maybe this one actually kind of matches a bit better. Yeah, it was a bit too, stood out a bit too much last time. So obviously this is kind of the view that we get of this. So we'll start down here and just kind of work our way up. I am thinking about these little planters that we have on each of these edges as well, so I'm not too sure how I'm going to do that. So I'm going to have a look at those first, I think. So I don't have a lot of choices when it comes to these, so I think I'm going to have to just go with these ones. We'll add in the steps first, I think, so that we can gauge the space a bit better. So there's only steps on this part here. And from the looks of it, there's only really 2. We do actually have this one, which I like this one more because I think it's a bit skinnier. And then just gonna line this up with our stairs. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. I'm happy with that. It all lines up pretty neatly. Obviously on this first section down here, we don't really get a view of this side, but on this side we do have a dining table, and it is a completely black wooden one, which is pretty much the same as this one. I do wonder whether we have a bit more of a cleaner one though, because that looks a little bit used. Maybe this one, that looks a little bit better. Although this is actually a much bigger table, so maybe we need to get a 3-person table instead, or a 6-person. Okay, I think this one's quite nice. You can grab all the chairs. Then obviously there are plates laid out, but I can't really do that. And then they do have just a little flower pot or something in the middle. I think something like this matches that more modern look of this garden. But that is actually a bit more of just a regular plant pot, so maybe not. If we wanted to stick to something looking a lot more like it, I think this actually kind of looks like it, but I hate that thing. If we just go with that, because that's like a bundle of flowers. We can't see what's over on this side, so I'll leave that blank for now. Obviously up here we do have some little steps to take us to the next level. For that, I think I might actually just use these. They are a little bit too big though, so maybe if we make them a bit smaller. I don't think that looks too bad. I think we just need to move them a little bit. There we go. I think that actually looks pretty perfect. Did add just a small extra step in there just to make it so that these end up being a bit more even. Then obviously we need some loungers. So these are just basically grey. So if we grab something that looks quite comfy and sort of modern, I think that will fit. These ones look pretty similar to the ones in the picture. Then obviously they're just sort of next to each other like that. And there is a tiny table, I think, right in the middle of the two. We go with something tiny like this. Then I've just added a little light on top of it as well. So then we can move up to our back section over here. So there is a big bit of ivy right at the back. So let's see if we can get something like that. Something like this is actually pretty perfect. I think there is also a sign directly in the middle of it, probably something to do with the garden. So I'm thinking we can use something like this as that sign. We just make it a little bit smaller and raise it up. We could have it there. Then right at the top here, it looks like we have a barbecue over on this side and then obviously some seating on the other. Gonna go with this modern one as this is a modern build at the minute. We can just pop that right at the end. And then obviously we have our seating on this side. And this seating obviously is a curved sofa, so if we use this one, that's got that same edge right at the end. And this also comes with a coffee table, so I'll just pop one there. That's looking pretty accurate so far. Obviously, we don't really have anything on these two sides here, but I'm going to have to work out something that we're going to do there. And we obviously need to work out how we're actually getting into this other than walking all the way around the side of the house. But I think I'm going to work that out when we actually move on to the inside and start doing our kitchen. So let's move over to the inside finally. But let's have a quick look of what it looks like on the outside first. So this is our house so far. Obviously there's going to be windows across here, but we'll work that out when we get to the inside. Here is our front, and then we've got our back garden right there, and I think it's looking pretty unique so far. So moving on to the inside, obviously we're going to do our entrance way first. It looks like we have quite a light base, and then there is actually a darker section here where we have the coat hangers. So we could just pick something simple like this white all the way around. And obviously for this we're going to have to take a little bit of liberty with it, and not because we don't really have an option for like a lot of hangers like that. So I'm trying to think of the best way that we can do this so that it looks the same. I think I'm going to have to just put two of these next to each other and just do that. Or we could try and build some kind of wooden thing on the back, and that's the only other way I can picture this working. Let's see if we can do that kind of thing. So if we do something like this, this might work. And then what we can do is pull this upwards so that it looks like it's connected. And that actually looks all right. That looks like you would have pegs behind there. So I'm not going to be able to split it exactly, but I can do something like this, which at least still gives us that accent wall. I think we definitely need a light in here because at the minute I can't really see anything. And for this, it actually uses this light, which we can see in the image. So I think we maybe add one there and then one over on this side. We need a different floor. So in this one, it's got the same kind of wooden brown as our little section over here that has the coats on, which appears to be similar to this brown here. We obviously need our pictures as well just up here. And these are just the same picture frames, so I'm gonna have to make sure I find one which has similar frames. Things like this work quite well. Would these three together work, or would they look odd because they're quite like geometric? Alternative is that we do these ones, and I think these are quite cute, so let's do these three. Go with this one, then this one, just make sure I line it up evenly, then this one. Yeah, I think that looks pretty cute. Obviously quite a simplistic entrance way. Then we can go around to doing our doors, so obviously these will lead us through to our other various rooms, as this is our hallway. And as this is a bit more of a modern build, I'm going to pick a bit more of a modern door. So obviously this is our kids room, which I'll put there. We've got a door leading us through to the adult room. We've then got our kitchen, which I think I'll make that completely open. Our bathroom, which is over on this side. And then we've got our living area, which is over here. Quite a cramped corridor, but I think it's fine. I might actually open up that room there leading us through to the living room just to make it feel a bit better. So let's open up those areas so we can have this one be nice and open. I don't know whether I want to do something like that or a round one. But given how all the round ones are sort of strange shapes, we'll probably just go with this one. We could also make them larger if we really wanted to, and I could go with something like this. How does this look? Actually, that looks a little bit nicer. Let's go with that. We'll have that nice and open. Then we'll do a little one leading us through to this room. Yeah, that's not too bad of a hallway. I do kind of wish wish it had a bit more going on though. Maybe we need a mirror, so you like maybe on this wall so you can have a look at yourself before you go out. You can even get one in blue so that it matches, and grab a little light at the top of it as well. I think I can actually move this light up as well so that it's a bit further down the hallway. That way we've got that light kind of taking the main brunt of that area. Could also do a runner rug going all the way down this hallway just to give it a bit more going on. You can also do it in this dark blue, which works better. Yeah, I think that looks pretty nice. Okay, it looks better now that I've added that rug in. Could do with a cute set of picture frames as well, or something near this end. There we go. So you can put some pictures in there, and then you've got pictures in the hallway as well. Okay, that's pretty good. So that's our hallway done. We can then move on to our different rooms. So let's do our living room next. So the living room is quite simplistic. We've got books going all the way across this back section. Other than that, it is just a white room, so we can use the same white pretty color that we used here. It's probably gonna have the same wood as well from the looks of it. It just looks like dark wood. We can't actually see the light at all in here, so we'll have to pick something maybe a bit smaller that doesn't get in the way. It seems to be a warm light though. Could pick something like that. I think that one looks all right. Then we've got books all the way across here, so let's add those in. I actually think I might swap out these for this one just because that looks a little bit nicer and it doesn't get in the way when we make it smaller. So we need it to reach all the way up to the ceiling, so I'm going to have to just do a couple of edits maybe to get it to rise that high. I think that looks pretty good though. Here, so there's our bookshelves. We can then go ahead and add in our seating. So obviously we've got a curved sofa, so I'm going to use this one I think. The other option is obviously using this one, which maybe I will actually go with that one. We'll maybe just have a look at some cushions and things. You can then add in some pillows just to make it look a little bit nicer and a bit cozier. Do maybe some cream ones. I think those will be a bit better. I think this looks pretty accurate to the picture. There we go. I think that looks a little bit more random. Then we have a teeny little fireplace just over here, and then I'm gonna see whether I can put like a little side table in the way of it, and we can put some items on there. We do something like this. That kind of works. Then we basically just made a fireplace. I pulled it back a little bit more. That should be all right. Then we do have a few little plants on there. There we go. I think that looks pretty good. We've then got a fake fireplace over this side with some more plants in it, which is a bit weird, but we might have to move this up a bit just so that it fits. And the fake one is just like this. I mean, I think it looks a little bit nicer, but the thing is, because it's not a real fireplace, it doesn't actually need to work. I'll pop it there, and then we can go ahead and put maybe a TV directly above it. It's got some plants and things on it as well, just so we can have even more plants in the room. There you go, that's kind of looking like the reference so far. Then for our TV up here, I'm thinking we go with one of the ones that's like also a picture. There's some nice ones like this where I think it will actually fit in quite well with the room. All the colors kind of go quite well together. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. Then right in front of here, we have a little table. Just pop that one there. It is a slightly different color than the rest of the things in the room. I think I might have to do everything a bit light. I think that's looking a little bit better. I might use this one instead of that one actually. We could pop it there. Or actually, that one looks a bit of a weird shape. I think we're gonna have to accept that one as our table. Okay, then I've just added a couple of little bits to our table. I think that looks a little bit more lived in. We do have a rug directly underneath this as well. It's quite a plain one, but I'm thinking that this one looks quite nice. Put some pillows and blankets in that corner there. We obviously as well have a picture in this back section. And that's actually the last thing that we can see visibly in this room. I think something like this actually works quite well because it's still got that dark border. I wish it was a little bit longer though. I wonder whether we could get a longer version. Okay, actually maybe this one. This one looks better because it is a bit longer. And then obviously we don't know what's going on the other side of the room. We can see that there is something comfortable that you can sit on over this side. Just a bit worried we don't really have the space for it. Kind of looks like this sort of thing, but this is obviously a specific shape. I'm thinking we could include that though because that's quite cute. How does that look in the room? It's pretty similar actually. So we pop that there, then there is another space that you can sit, and it does actually look pretty cute because it's a little flower. So then obviously we do have this side of the room as well to do things. I'm thinking that we do a lamp and a little side table, and obviously we have a bit of free reign on what this looks like because we can't actually see it in the image. So I'm thinking we go with something like this maybe. How does that look? Yeah, I think that looks a little bit better than a square one. Then we can pop a lamp on top. Thinking this one because it's a little bit more modern. We then obviously do have this wall space as well, so I'm thinking we could go with another picture. We could go with something like this, and that actually brings in the family aspect of it, because it is actually family portrait kind of things. Don't know if it's a little bit too big though. How does it look? It might be a bit too big. Do this one instead. That way it's a little bit smaller. Yeah, I feel like that kind of works. Okay, perfect. So there's our living area done. We can then move over to our next bit, which I'll do the bathroom. So obviously the reference image that we got, this bathroom is obviously in some kind of attic, because we can see the roof slanting. I will obviously add in a window for this one, and we'll add it near the top. I think we could probably go with the same window that we picked before for our roof, which is this one, and I'll just add it in up there. For our lighting, I think it might actually be better if we just use wall lights. I'm going to use one directly above there, and we'll use one above the door. Still considering moving that door into the middle, but we'll see how much space we actually have, because we haven't got a lot of space in here. It's going to be a little bit difficult as well doing this tiling, as I don't know if there's anything like that that exists already in the game. I think it's just trying to match the colors, I guess, because they all seem to be kind of opposite, where it's white higher up and then the color at the bottom. I think what I'm going to do is we'll do the same tiling that it's telling us to do on one wall, and then we'll do the color on the rest. So this is the tiling that it wants. So if we do that maybe on that side, and then we'll get the color of the wall for the rest. So it's like a dark green color, something similar to this. I think that's as close as we're kind of going to get it. Then for the flooring, we actually don't get a perfect view of it, but it actually looks a little bit like wood, which whenever I add wood to a bathroom, people always question it, being like it would be horrible to have wood in a bathroom, but I think you forget that you can also treat wood so that you can actually have it in a bathroom and the water doesn't affect it. So we have a white bath over on this side that does actually have the same tiling as this, so I'm going to see whether I can do that. Part of me is actually tempted to put this door over on this side, because that would actually make it so much easier for me to do things. Yeah, I think that actually looks a lot better. Let's do that instead. For our bath, I'm just going to pick, I guess, quite a simplistic one. It doesn't really matter too much if I'm going to use a half wall on the side. Just needs to have white as its main color. So something like this is fine because it's quite modern. Then what I'm going to do is just use a half wall here to be able to put in this, and we can then add this into the side. That then gives us the same wall as what's in the image. Over on this side as well, we do have a tiny shelf over here with what looks like candles, as well as a plant. By the way, the bath is still completely usable with that half wall there. As long as the half wall is like 2, the sim can still go over it. We can grab our little shelf, and I'm just going to add it there, and I'm just going to add a tiny plant here, and there we go. We've got our little shelf. It was meant to have a candle on there as well, but we don't actually have enough space. There is actually another plant as well here that's like slightly taller. I think I'm going to go with this one just because it can fit in that corner quite well. Okay, so if we go over this side, we do also have some pictures on this back wall. Just a couple of them. I think we can go with this one now, and we'll go with that one as well. So then we can go over to this side where we've got our toilet and our sink. We can't actually see the toilet and the sink in this picture, so we're just going to have to guess what it kind of looks like. We do also have a rug in here, so we're going to have to add a rug in as well. Just going to go with a simplistic toilet there. Then we can sort of see the sink. It's actually a bit more of like a bowl with the tap coming onto it, which I think we do have a few of those. The one that's actually most similar is this one. So if we pop that down, we can then pick the color a bit better, I think. So it is a bit lighter. Something like this one actually matches the color better. Then obviously we need a mirror. Thinking something a bit more modern is probably better, like that. And I do want a small hand towel by the side. Go with maybe this one. Or it might actually be better. Can we put that above the toilet? No, I feel like that looks a bit odd. We could put it there though, behind, like under the mirror. Oh, but it kind of does go into that part of it. If we make it a bit smaller, it looks fine. We are missing a towel for the actual bath, so I'm thinking we can maybe put that here. We go with one like this. It matches the room a bit better as well. How does that look? I actually feel like it looks better without it. We'll leave it. We don't necessarily need one. Alternatively, we could put it on this side under here. How would that look? Actually looks a little bit better. I think I need to pull the pictures up a bit though. Maybe something like that. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So the room's really tall. Okay, that's fine for our bathroom then. That's as close as we're gonna get it. I did actually want to have a quick look and see whether I can get that rug though. We can see that it's sort of an older style. Bit more of those really detailed kind of rugs. One of these. that actually works really well. So I think let's go with that one. Okay, so now that we've finished our bathroom, we can move on to the next room, which is our kitchen and dining area. Obviously, we didn't search for the dining room, but I'm gonna basically just merge them together, which is good for when you don't really have a lot of space as well. Me is actually tempted to build a slight extension out here that can then lead us around to this area. So let's see if I can do that, and that might actually give us a little bit more space. So if we were to go maybe like this, we can then pull this room out. Then we can just copy all of the same things we did for our front porch. We can even section it off the exact same as we did around the other side. I think I'm going to do open sliding doors for this one though. Something a bit more like this. I think that'll look nice. Then obviously for our roof, I'm thinking we just go with something simple like this because it isn't that big of an extension. There we go. There's our entranceway again into the garden. That's actually pretty good because that means that if you have to do any cooking or grab anything from the kitchen, you can quickly go around and do that entrance rather than the front. That also gives us a bit more space to be able to put a dining table here. So going back to our kitchen, it does look like it uses the same tiles that we have in the bathroom, which is quite good because that means it links. I don't know if I want to use that everywhere though. I wonder whether there's any that are slightly less visible because these ones they don't have very like harsh grout. An alternative is obviously that we only use this as an accent wall, maybe across this corner here, and then we can just use white or something for the rest so that it keeps with the theme. I think let's do that instead, otherwise it's a bit over the top. So we'll just use it for this corner here. I think that looks a little bit better. I am tempted to actually change the wood that we've picked for all of this just to a bit of a nicer one. Even just something like this looks a little bit less basic. I don't like the single plank kind of look. I think that's a little bit better. We can then go ahead and start doing our kitchen. So hopefully we can manage to make this look pretty similar. So obviously it does have windows right at the back, and these are white windows, so it shouldn't look too weird when we combine it with this section at the back where a lot of things are this whiter tone. I think there might be a slightly better window shape as well. We can maybe go with something like this. I feel like this works a bit better, or we've got this much larger version. Obviously if we wanted to match the windows that we've already placed there, we could also do these, but they are just white in the image, so we might have to stray away a little bit. Thinking it might work better if we just use two of these and then place them next to each other like that. I think that looks pretty good. Obviously they're gonna have to be a bit further over, so a bit more like this, I think. So let's now have a look at our kitchen counters and try and find something that matches this color. It is absolutely gorgeous, but I highly doubt we're gonna be able to find something with the same light blue and then brown countertop. So all of these are the only ones that I could find that actually have that same sort of color scheme. None of them had the brown countertop that we were after, which kind of sucks, but I think we're just gonna have to deal. The one with the darkest countertop is obviously this one, but that is just a black counter. Yeah, I did find a few more. This one's really nice, but it's not very modern, so I'm gonna remove that from the options. This one is very modern, and it does actually have that same brown on it, so I think we're gonna go with that one. I believe that's the one from the home decorators pack, which is quite a lot of modern stuff as well. So we've got these going around the corner, and obviously this is a corner like U-shaped kitchen, so we're gonna have to go a little bit around the corner here. I believe the sink is about there, which is perfectly in the middle of our window, which is good. We've got our oven there, and then obviously we can put our fridge where we want. I'm thinking we can put the fridge here, so then this can be our end cabinet over this side. So this does actually match perfectly the color scheme of this pack, which is great, because from looking at it we don't actually have any other sinks that would fit. This is obviously the one for the cottage living, but I don't think it's in the same kind of color. Oh, actually it kind of is, but it's not as modern looking, so I think we'll go with that one for our sink, as that is like a perfect match. Then obviously we've got to have a look at our ovens. Hopefully we can find an oven that also matches, but this is the home decorator pack counters, so we can just add that there, and then we can grab an oven from somewhere else if we need to. This is actually like a little bit of an older oven though. We can see that it's a gas hob and it's really shiny and metal, so anything like this would also work, I think, but this one's got like literally logs underneath. Something like this in silver would also work for this style. I can't really tell if that's a gas hob. It kind of looks like it, but I think that'll also work because that's got the same handles as well to be able to open the oven. We obviously need a exhaust as well, so we can find one in that same blue. That would be good. If not, silver is like pretty close to that blue. It's got either this one or this one, but I do like this one. It's just not really the right blue, which kind of sucks. I think just doing the grey one might look a little bit better. Then obviously for our fridge we can't see it, so we can just kind of pick the fridge that we would like to use. Personally looking at this one because it matches the color scheme for the cabinets we've already picked. And if we go with that one, it's got the same grey tone as well as the exhaust. So I am actually really liking this kitchen so far. We've got to do our little like side shelves as well, which I'm a little bit worried about, but we'll see how that goes. So obviously what I'm thinking is that we go with these ones because this comes with side shelves. We can just pop those there, and then we do need another couple there. But to be honest, we don't really have the space for it because that kind of goes straight into this part. I think I do need to change the color though to something like that because that works a bit better. I think that looks pretty good. I think let's move this so it's a little bit higher though, like that. I think that actually looks fine. Then I'm thinking we continue the double shelves along this side because that kind of works all together then. The one thing that really annoys me about this pack is that you can't actually match the color of the shelves that well. For some reason they're not the same color, so we can either go darker or we can stick with this lighter color. I think the darker one looks a bit better. They don't match perfectly, but they're not going to, which is kind of annoying. We can then add some items onto these shelves here. There you go. So I just added some plates and some little bits for the kitchen. I think we can also add like a dishwasher or something into here, but the problem is it does kind of ruin the look of this kitchen, so I think I'll leave it. I'm gonna add a little plant over to this side, and then we can also add in a little cookbook, I think, like that. That looks pretty good. Then on the other side we can add some more bits. So in the picture we do have some flowers, so we could add flowers in. I think these ones are quite nice with the purple, so I think that actually looks pretty good. We do obviously have a rug right at the end as well, which I'll add in. Again, it's kind of one of those older rugs. I think I'm going to use this one though for this. I think that looks pretty accurate to the reference. We do have this little side section over here, which I want to use to just add in a bin. Just use this sort of modern looking one here. Then maybe also some aprons in a slightly better color. Maybe these ones. They kind of match with the room. And finally some little pictures. So I think that's our kitchen area done. We can then move over to our dining area slash sort of entrance way to the kitchen, and also the bathroom, and also the exit. So obviously this one we have kind of free reign on where we want to put things. We don't have a massive amount of space, but it's enough space to be able to put the dining table if we just did a little 4-person table. So obviously I want to kind of match up with our kitchen, thinking we do this kind of table or this one. I think this color scheme works a bit better. Then we can even get chairs that match with that light blue, thinking we can even offset it like that, and that actually looks a little bit nicer. And we can add maybe a couple more plants and things to this room. Then finally one more picture over. I think this one looks quite good because it's quite modern, works with the color scheme as well. So there we go. We've got our dining area and our kitchen. We can then move over to our bedrooms. So we've got our first bedroom, which is the kids room. Kids room again, it seems to just be white walled. A lot of that is white wall, which is fine. We can then go with our light, which I think we're going to go with the same ones we've been using, but I'll do this one slightly smaller as it is a smaller room and I don't want it to take up all that space. So I'm thinking what we can do is put the bed along here, and then this is where we can have some books. We can then do a little wardrobe or something on this side. Now the floor in this one is carpet, which is fine. We can go grab a light coloured carpet for this. We then have the kids bed, which is actually really similar to this one here, and we can pop that there. I am going to add one pillow to this as well, just there in that corner. I might change the colour slightly just because it matches a bit too much with the wood. We go with that one. We don't have a massive amount of options when it comes to bunting, unfortunately. They're all the sort of seasonal ones, so they kind of look like they're designed to not stay up permanently, and they're not the cute little flags that we have in this. So what I'm thinking about doing instead, because that none of them even come like in the same kind of color scheme and they're definitely not as cute, I'm thinking about doing lights instead. So we could just do something like this going all the way across this one edge, and if we drag it around, because on here it looks like it just goes across these two, then it'll still look pretty good. We can actually do it. Let's do it one higher. I think that still looks pretty cute. There are other ones as well, so I'm just going to have a look at the other ones and see if they look better. We do have these ones, which are cute little stars, and I think they actually look cuter as well. So let's go with these. They make a bit more sense for like a kid's room, I think. Also brings in a bit of warm lighting too. Then we have a little light just coming over the side of the bed, which I think we can actually go with the same one we have been using. It does look a little bit outsidey though. Another option is this one. I think this one looks alright as well. So let's go with that. Do we actually even need this light? Yeah, we kind of do, because there's not enough lighting on the other side of the room. Then we have a couple of cute kids pictures on this wall here. Feel like these ones work quite well. Sadly, there's only one that actually comes in that white frame. frame. We could do something like this though and just add 2 different ones. I think that looks pretty cute. Then over on this side we have a little seat as well, where we've then got some books and things directly above. And for this I think something like this actually works, because this is a seat. Other alternatives include this thing, which this only really comes in bright colours, and we've already put one of those in the other room, so this is probably the better option. Then let's grab some books. So these are the ones that are in the picture, so we'll go with this one. I'm going to do one there, and then we'll lift the other one up and put it directly above. I then think we do need a few toys, so I'm actually going to move this up a bit as it is right next to there, and we can add some stuffed animals to that side. Do a cute little dog there, and we can have a little bear there as well. Now obviously we have more space in the bedroom to be able to add things, but that's everything that we can see in the image. So I'm thinking we can add a dresser over on this side. Obviously the smaller the better, so I am thinking that we maybe go with this one, just because there is not much room in here. Do like this cute little cat lamp as well. I think that's super cute for this kind of room. And if I move this out, this room is still actually pretty bright, so I think that's actually fine to leave that out. I think we can probably add these to the rest of the room, to be honest, and that'll bring in that extra light that we might need. I think we could also do with some curtains. I'm gonna see if we can find any that fit though, just because this is a bit of a weirdly shaped window. There you go. I think this one works quite well. Then finally I want to add a couple more toys, and I guess as well, because this is for like toddler age, we may need to add a potty in as well, but I'm going to go ahead and add just some toys scattered around the floor. We've got this cute little potty that we can stick in the corner, and we do also have a high chair which I'm going to stick. So that looks pretty cute for our room. We do have a bit more space on this back wall over here though, which I think we can just add in some little pictures, and then that should be fine. Perfect. So let's go on to our last room, which is the parents' room. So this one's a little bit more boho. I do think we'll put the bed right at the back here. It's just a sort of dark wooden frame with sort of light sheets. For our walls, again, it is just that white colour, so that's nice and easy. Our floor, I can't really tell, but what I'm going to do is just do a light brown sort of creamy coloured carpet. For our bed, this one's as close to the colour scheme as I think we're actually going to get. We then have a side set of drawers over on this side. We can't actually see what's on that side, so I think we can kind of leave that for now. For our mirror, I'm just going to use that one, and then we're going to put some plants in front of it. There you go. I think that looks pretty accurate. Behind the actual bed, we have some pictures of sort of floral designs, but I'm thinking what will actually work with the room a little bit better is this. Do you have the ability to add in an additional window? So I'm trying to think if I want another window there. I think that does look pretty good though. Then add in some curtains, and I'll use the same ones as I used in the last room. We do have, again, one of those sort of older rugs that's just in the middle of the floor. I think this one's quite nice, but it's very bright. This one I think is a little bit better. Let's go with this one. So that's all we can see in the image, so I'm going to move on to the rest of the room now that we can kind of see it all. I'm going to go with a set of drawers right at the end of the bedroom here, or a cupboard or something like that. My favourite wardrobe is actually this one, so I think I'm going to use that one right at the end. I think we maybe need a stand-up mirror or something on this side too. There are some of these like sort of more modern ones which kind of ties that in with the rest of the house, even though this room is a little bit more boho. Then obviously on the other side we have quite a lot of space, so I'm thinking what we could do is actually just add in another one of these to this side, and then maybe add another picture. But let's put a lamp on that one, or we can even add this in, which this has a little plant pot on it as well. So I think we just need one more picture on this wall, and then I think we're done. Let's go with, and it's probably gonna have to be quite big, won't it? So let's go with something bigger. We could tie it into being a bit more modern if we use one of these, because that's quite modern. How does that look? I mean, it's a little random, but I actually kind of like it there because it matches all the colors. And there we have it, our entirely Pinterest inspired design. I think that this looks really cool. I think some of the design is a bit strange as it mixes sort of boho and modern, but I think that makes sense as a lot of people have different tastes when it comes to houses, so of course Pinterest is going to give us a variety of different ones. Some of my favorite rooms are definitely the kitchen. I really like the garden as well, even though it's a little bit quirky. The front of the house also I think looks really nice, and I do like the overall design of the outside of the house. But let me know what you think of this build in the comments below. Be sure to give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you haven't already. I try to post content weekly, but sometimes I miss a few, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss them. If you enjoyed this video, there is another recommended video on the screen now, so you should definitely check that one out too, and I hope you all have a great evening.